Family members, caregivers, and teachers are required by law to report suspected cases of child abuse, or they could face prison or thousands of dollars in fines. With the signing of the Child Protection Protocol and the introduction of the Children and Young Persons Act, Stacey Stout James, head of Family and Child Protective Services at the Social Development Department, speaking on JTV Spotlight, said, immediate family members and anyone who works with children are mandated to report any knowledge of child abuse, or if a child is showing physical or behavioral signs that they are being harmed.
Some of those signs, like for instance with physical abuse, bite marks would be one of the physical signs you look for. Extensive bruising and stuff like that. Behavioral signs you would look for. If a child shies away from a particular adult, they don't want to go home, or they want to always stay in school, they might show up. Another sign for something like neglect, they might show up to school very early in the morning, one of the students to always stay late, come to school not prepared for school, not well groomed, never have sufficient lunch or snacks. We educating our kids, we educating our parents, letting them know now. We have legislation that mandates you, if you suspect that a child is being hurt, immediate family members have a duty now to report that matter to the police or social development, all the way down to cousins, mother, father, aunt, uncle, sister, brother, cousins, as well as anybody who's working with children. So we're informing persons about the importance and doing their role and doing their part in keeping our children safe.
The head of Family and Child Protective Services said BVI laws regarding child sexual abuse need to be modernized to ensure that they are not gender biased. Child sexual abuse continues to be the most reported type of abuse in the BVI. In 2015, there were 83 reports of children being hurt. 32 of those were sexual abuse alone, and that figure included both boys and girls.
In our BVI, we're not talking about things that is happening somewhere else. In our BVI, we have sexual abuse being the most prevalent type. We continue to see our highest type year after year, right? We continue to inform the public about what we're doing. We continue to strengthen our systems. We have the protocol now. Coming out of the protocol, we have a child abuse investigative team now. So we have persons who sit every quarter and look at all these cases that these children have disclosed, or persons disclosed that I think that this child might be, a victim. And we look at those cases and see whether or not we have information enough to prosecute criminally, or it is that we need to put support services in the home to assist these parents with parenting classes or whatever. We see that not just our girls are being affected by sexual abuse of all the types, but we have our boys as well.
According to the head of Family and Child Protective Services, the recently established Child Abuse Investigative Team already met twice this year to deal with child sexual abuse cases. The Child Abuse Investigative Team was set up under the Child Protection Protocol that handle cases that are complex and involves a number of agencies, or when the case is being prosecuted and involves extensive evidence, as well as when the case is high profile and will come under significant public scrutiny. Addressing special needs children, a special education and early childhood educator at the Autism Center, Sarah Hussein Bazar, said children with special needs are often neglected.
We have children, unfortunately, that are special needs and are nonverbal, and that's even harder to detect abuse and requires much more in-depth investigation.
And is more prone to abuse.
And they're much more prone to neglect and abuse because they're differently abled, they may seem different to their peers, frustration to their families, what they have to go through every single day with a child with disabilities.
A person can face up to $6,000 fine or 3 years in prison if it is proven that they had knowledge of a child being abused and did not report it. Persons who report suspected cases to the Social Development Department remain anonymous. If you suspect a child is being abused, you should call 468-YES-1 or 468-3636. Then you can watch the entire Spotlight interview on Spotlight's Facebook page, Spotlight BVI, as well as JTV's website, jtvlive.net.